So we actually had to live it, and you don't know what kind of adversity hits you in the face until it actually does, and then you actually have to sit there and say, I actually have to live what I preach. And we've kept it in our back pocket till we became a head football coach because we feel it could be something that a community rallies behind. The oars are the energy of the program. The boat is the sacrifice of what are you willing to sacrifice to get into the boat, whether that's community or these players. And then the compass is the direction of where we've set sail, where we're going. When you're rowing a boat, not paddling, you're rowing, you're facing the opposite direction you're actually going. So you're going towards the future, but you can't see what's there. You've got to trust in the process, trust in your rowing. If one side of the boat completely stops rowing, you'll go in a circle. One person stops rowing, that means Johnny's got to pick it up and row for two instead of one. He's got to do more, and we don't want that. We want Johnny to be the best Johnny Simon he can be, not Johnny Simon plus Tyler Van Tuberingen. We want to be the best Johnny Simon he can be. So he's rowing in the present right now, and then he's looking backwards. You're looking into the future, looking into the past from learning from it, and all your mistakes and all your things that you accomplished, and you're learning and never forgetting where you come from. And we don't care what's ahead of us: calm seas, waterfalls, rocky water. It doesn't matter. Injuries, it doesn't matter. We're just going to continue to row the boat.
How about, speaking of what's ahead of you, your 2013 schedule, most notably the road games at Michigan State, at Northwestern, at Iowa, at Toledo, at Northern Illinois?
We'll get everybody in the boat on probably Friday, right? Thursday on one of them, and just row down there and worry about us. And that's what the whole mantra is about. It's about no matter what's ahead of you. And I know that's ahead of us, but we're not there yet. We can't see when it's going to hit us. But we know that all we're going to do is continue to row. And no matter what gets thrown at us, no matter what schedule we get, I know it's challenging. I know it's daunting. I know we've got a great challenge ahead of us, but I also know these guys have been trained, and they're ready for the challenge.
The video that you and your staff put out, where it's just you sitting there talking for 10 minutes, not many coaches would take the time to do that. Why was it so important for you to send that message?
Well, I want our fan base, I want our talent to understand the culture here. I'm changing the culture. I want them to, for one time, know exactly what's going on within their town and the program, and these young men that are living in their community on a daily basis. I want them to see why this program's changed, how it's changed, and how you can be a part of it. How we can be different from everyone else and sell 36,000 seats eventually every single game, no matter if we win 10 games or lose 10 games. It does not matter, because it's what you do in Kalamazoo. And I want them to get to know me, to their head football coach who's representing Kalamazoo. I mean, I guess besides the mayor, or I guess I'm one of the spokesperson for Kalamazoo, Michigan. I mean, when you think about it, right? I mean, I'm one of the people on the front porch of our university and our town, so I want them to know exactly what this guy's saying about us and what we're trying to represent.
Well, you inherited a pretty good team, and I want to ask you about Jamie Wilson, your receiver. But before I do that, from where you came from at Rutgers, you've got the 6'6" Brandon Coleman that you coached over with the Scarlet Knights, and he's a hot NFL name right now. Tell me a little bit about Brandon. How special can he be?
Very special. He might be one of the most talented players I've ever coached. Vincent Jackson's the most talented player I've ever coached. Mohamed Sanu, I mean, there's a lot of them. But Brandon has the ability to be the ability, whether he wants to do it or not, will be up to him. Probably to be one of the best receivers in the National Football League one day because of his size, his speed, his competitiveness. He has that. And I know Rutgers is really excited to have him another year. And, he was really, really fun to coach. And more than a player, he's even an even better person. I mean, you're talking about an all-around guy. He is an all-around person.
And now Jamie Wilson, your leading receiver with your new team.
Jamie's a little shorter than Brandon if you're comparing the two.
But he's coming off the Freshman of the Year campaign. What do you expect now that you're working with him and it's your first year, new offense?
Well, I think I give a compliment to Tyler. I think him and Jamie have really developed a really, really elite relationship back and forth in terms of trust. Jamie has had to trust us. I'll be honest with you. Jamie had to lose weight. Jamie didn't look like Mohamed Sanu. And you can look like them without being as tall as them. Didn't look like Brandon Coleman. Didn't look like Vincent Jackson. Not that he has to be like them, but they understand diet. They understand nutrition. They understand if I have less body fat, I perform better. I'm a better athlete. I can go longer. Jamie's lost close to 6% body fat in the offseason. That's astounding. He's learned how to work. He's learned how to work hard with his heart. And he's developed a relationship with Tyler that I think is really going to springboard them into this season. And I expect big things from Jamie.
From watching Western Michigan last year, the struggles started when Alex Carter, the former quarterback, went down with an injury. And obviously you don't have Alex Carter anymore. Now you have a fifth-year senior in Tyler. How's it been to inherit him?
Oh, I tell you what, he has been an absolute blast. When you become a head football coach, I think the number one question you have when you get there is like, okay, who's my quarterback? Yeah. Okay, everybody. Okay, no, who's my quarterback? You always look for that because that's where really the heartbeat of the team starts. And I think Tyler has really developed as a young man, as a player, as a person, and as a leader. And I've said that numerous times today in terms of him as a leader. And I told numerous people this too, that he wants to be a lawyer. And he's not going to ever tell you that he's a very vocal person. But I did tell him, I said, Tyler, you have to be able to, if you're a lawyer, talk to be able to defend somebody. You can't just do this and do this. You're going to have to develop some big-time leadership skills. And he has. A lot of people would say, well, you're finding things that are wrong with me right away. It wasn't that. It was, here's what I think you have to do to become elite. And he accepted it. And we've met on leadership. Kurt Shiraka, our offensive coordinator, has done a tremendous job with Tyler, just like he did with Joe Flacco. And Tyler has really sprung into the leadership role on our football team as well as Johnny. But I think both these guys, as they're seen, is, leading is not all exactly the most popular thing to do on a football team. It's very lonely at the top. When you start making decisions that influence other people's lives, that's leading. And whether that has to be done in a negatively or positive way, it's going to influence people. And they're starting to see that leadership, look, you don't have to be the most popular person on the team, but I do need you to lead. And they are. They've accepted that role, and they're tremendous leaders.
And what about the move that Johnny Simon is now making from safety to linebacker?
Well, I'm sure Johnny looked at us with about 6 eyes, like, huh? When we said, hey, yeah, you're this, this all-MAC, you're this big-time safety. By the way, you're moving to linebacker, huh? But Johnny's our best tackler, and the way that we fit our scheme, we want our best tackler in the box. And I think he's going to be a lot more active in there, and I think moving him there to a linebacking core that needed some type of stability has helped us in the secondary with a guy like Demetrius Petway, who's incredibly athletic, gets a chance to play now. And we get the best 11 on the field, which is our main goal. And I think Johnny was very unselfish by doing that, but I think that he's going to see his tackles go way up, and I think he's unselfish, but he also sees himself putting his face on a lot more people too. So he's like, oh, I can handle that. So.
And you're a really young guy. I think the youngest coach in Division I.
Correct.
So what's the transition been for you to be a head coach now? How's life?
Oh, life is elite. It couldn't be any better. I don't think it has anything to do with my youth. I'll be 58 years old and still have the same energy I do right now, at least if God lets me do that. I really believe that. I don't believe it just because I'm young, there's my energy. I have a burning passion to make these young men better, and that's what I want to bring to this institution on a daily basis. And if you compare my resume to other people, I played in this conference, I coached in this conference, I was an academic All-American in this conference, I played in the National Football League and coached in the National Football League, and I'm 32. I should be 58. But I'm not. I'm 32. But I'll put that experience against anybody else, that type of experience, in terms of helping these young men get to where they want to be, up against anybody else in the country. Not necessarily wins and losses or X's and O's, because I haven't coached in a game yet, and I get that. I can't put that up against it. But that resume in terms of developing student athletes, I've done everything that these young men want to be, or have done, or want to be, or where they want to go. Who else better to help guide them? Not that they're going to do it the exact way, but help guide them than somebody that's been there, done that in every aspect. To me, like I said, I think Kathy Beauregard hit a home run in terms of who she hired, because I feel confident that I can get the job done. And like I said, that's pressure on myself. I will continue to put pressure on myself because I believe in these young men, and I know they have my back, and I've got theirs, and we're going to worry about us.
And you started off, you were a GA under Jim Tressel at Ohio State. You also spent a lot of time under Greg Schiano at Rutgers and Kyle Flood. I'm a big fan, Coach.
You've done a good job.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned?
Well, I can say this. I've learned something from every single one of them. Jim Tressel is the most poised man I've ever been around. I mean, there wasn't one scenario that guy could not get out of or find a way to do something elite in. He pulled some things out of his hat that I was like, wow, he just did that. and he was so calm when he did it. Greg Schiano's the most detailed, organized, most demanding person I've ever been around. I thought I used to work hard until I worked for Greg Schiano, and then I worked harder than I ever had my entire life, or dreamed I could ever work. He got the most out of me that I could possibly get. Jerry Kill, he's the most caring person I've been around, and he cares about young people, and he's at the University of Minnesota right now, does a tremendous job. Joe Novak, taking a chance on someone. There's going to be kids in recruiting that we take a chance on that maybe no one else has offered. He took a chance on me. He saw something in me that no one else did. And I look at recruits, I look at our own players the same way. And I could go on and on. Mike Nolan was the classiest man I've ever been around. Classiest. Always classy in everything. Whether he was about ready to get fired or whether he was having a great game. Always classy in everything that he said. Mike McCarthy's where I learned a ton of my X's and O's. Mike McCarthy's been a huge influence in me, the head coach of Green Bay Packers. I could go on and on about all these guys, but these are the guys that have influenced my life. And we won 2 state titles in high school under Joe Thorgerson. I mean, we had 23 kids on our high school football team and won 2 state titles. I mean, we all both went both ways, and there were times we just wanted to play with 10 because we had 10 good ones and they had 11. But so what? We were better than your 11, and that was just who we were. And but I've always been the underdog. Growing up, if I was 7, I played with the 9-year-olds. If I was 9, I played with the 11 and 12-year-olds. That was just the way my dad put me in sports. I've always been against the wall, and there's no different than here. I'm against the wall. I'm the youngest head coach. I haven't proven myself. I'm the youngest head coach in the country. I've never been a coordinator. These head coaches probably around here going, this guy's a joke. People can think what they want about me, but I know this, that I know who I am, and I know what I do on a daily basis to make this program better and these players better, and I'm proud to be their head football coach.
The final thing, Coach, obviously the MAC today isn't the same as the MAC that you played for, that you coached in before. So what's MACtion? I mean, have you been able to follow the term MACtion and learn about it?
That question. And really, to me, it's an elite up-tempo type of play, an urgency. It's a passion. Paction, you can call it passion, passion or something, because a lot of these players, Tyler will tell you he never got recruited by Ohio State. Johnny will tell you Florida State didn't offer him. 95% of the players in this conference, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I assume so, we're always told at one point they're too small, too slow, too this, too that, king of the twos, TOO, which I am. I was told the same thing. And the way they play and how hard they play, it's almost like a military academy. Watching Navy or Army play, it's just every single down is like the last, and I've loved that about the MAC, and that's where I thought the MACtion comes from. It's not necessarily Toledo's high-powered, fast offense or Jordan Lynch running over people at quarterback. That's not what MACtion is, because everybody has those types of offenses. Oregon would be considered MACtion, but they're not. It's the way the players play in the conference that make it MACtion, and that's why I'm proud to be back in the MAC.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.